People feel you before they decide about you. Why presence, charisma, and resonance matter. Hi, and welcome. I'm Michele Ho Lung. This is episode 66 of the Sparkle Experience Show. I met this fellow, Eric Ifra. He was just on the pyramid of his store in Cross Irons Mills in Calgary. And he was handing out samples, and we got to chatting. He says, what is it that you do? And I was just walking by, and he pulled me in. Okay, of all the people passing. And I said, well, I work with people. I help people feel better, do better, and be better. He said, well, how do you do that? So I said, well, the easiest way for me is to demonstrate it. So we stood there in front of his door. And I just sparkled him. I do what I call sparkle. I gave him a quick 5-minute pro bono sparkle session. And before I started, I said, well, by the way, do you have anything that you'd like to work on? And he says, I have these bloodshot eyes, and I've had it for weeks now, and I've been trying everything. I've been trying to sleep more. I've been trying to take allergy medication, and it's not helping. There's nothing I'm doing that is getting rid of these red bloodshot eyes. And he said to me, people are thinking that I'm doing drugs and it's affecting my business. And so I said, okay. So I worked on him for 5 minutes. And then I said, how do you feel? He says, oh, good. So he ran to the mirror and he looked, he says, how did you do that? And he went around to his 2 or 3 staff in the store and they're going, your eyes. And he's going, yeah, they're no longer bloodshot. In any event, he felt good, as well as his eyes were no longer bloodshot. So I was in Calgary for the weekend, and he has very expensive skincare products. He wanted to have another session. I said, well, why? What's going on? I thought you're good. He said, yeah, but he can't sleep at night. He doesn't sleep much. So we went to his back office and I worked on him again, and he called me up the next day when I was heading back to Edmonton, and he said, I've had to phone you to thank you. I said, thank me for what? He says, I just made a $50,000 sale on account of you. And I said, how do you know? He says, it's a shift. You shifted my energy, and that's why I made this $50,000 sale. Because before he spoke to me, he had this understanding that when his energy was good, when his energy was buoyant, he made sales. And so that might be the epitome of charisma. But he did have a very nice energy. Just his bloodshot eyes at the time was not doing him justice. And the other thing he said was he didn't sleep much that night after I worked on him the second time. But he had this amazing energy when he got up. And many people are working so hard on the right words, the right content, the right strategy, the right aesthetic presentation, the right funnel and scripts. And yet they're maybe, I'm thinking, not paying enough attention to that felt experience that they are transmitting. You can say the right thing and people still feel something's off. You can have the right offer and people get that sense of neediness, or salesiness, if you will. You can be very smart, very qualified, very thoughtful and brilliant, and yet not give that feeling to your people, your client, whoever you're communicating with, so that they feel safe and connected and grounded and secure in what it is that you're sharing with them. How are you using that energy to your advantage so it's not making you feel heavy and weighed down, so you can get to that lightness and that buoyancy that people are attracted to? And we call that charisma, when that is joyful, it's happy, and yet sometimes you don't want that feeling of that euphoria because you want to be more serious. So how do you get aligned and connected so that you are emanating the right energy? Because we all feel presence, as I said, some more than others, and others feel you. Others really do. Just recently someone told me, when that person was trying to figure out what it is I did, because I do so many different things. And he was going, well, he was going, it's not coaching, it's consulting. Yeah, it could be ISO, it could be. And then he says, that's it. You make me feel happy. And he said, that's all I need. It's you, when I'm around you, I feel good. And I thought, wow, that's kind of nice. And then someone else at a meeting, after I got there and after we'd been chatting for a while, he looked at me, says, there was a person who didn't open up, but as soon as you came in, he opened up. And I think that's because you came or you were here. When we work on ourselves, we are not just helping ourselves, we're helping other people, because when we are able to help someone feel better, and we have that energy where we can bring them up, we can make them feel happier just because we are happier, then people will actually feel better themselves, and they'll come more into what it is possible for them. So again, your presence can and does affect other people around you. And why this matters in business? Because people do not just buy our products and our services. They do not just buy coaching and strategy or information. They buy how they feel around you and about you. Whether they trust you, whether your voice makes them feel assured or confident, whether they feel that what you're telling them is in alignment with what they're feeling from you. Is your presence a relief, or is it a pressure cooker? Is it something that's building that's gonna blow up? And so in this new era, I think people are using their intuition more than they may even be aware of or admit. They are, and I know I am, I'm feeling for safety, for truth, for resonance. Do I feel good with you? How do you interact with my energy? Is there integrity? Is there a centeredness? Is there heart? And whether or not they want to, or I want to be in the field of that person or that meeting or that organization. And we do this, they do this before they decide on whether to relate or get involved or to partner and whatever else, do business. So now this is why recalibration matters. And I've brought this up a few times in the podcast, in the newsletters as well. Because you see, what you tell yourself repeatedly about anything and everything that you do, about aging, pain, lack, having money, not having enough, failure, depression, feeling out of sorts, whether things are working out or whether things are not coming together fast enough, and how you speak to yourself and what interactions you've had with people, all the things you're telling yourself in, around, and about that can, and I'm telling you will, affect your energy. It affects not only your energy, it affects your tone of voice, your body language, your face, your presence, that feeling of charisma or no charisma. And other people feel it as well. So you may be feeling really mad or very stressed, and just think other people are feeling that too. So how can you get back into recalibrating of yourself in a timely manner before somebody else gets it? Positive thinking, you might be thinking of affirmations, you do that, and yes, it helps. Changing your thoughts can help lift your state too. But sometimes thinking differently is not enough, and sometimes an actual recalibration is necessary and useful, because the sparkle chi work, that is how I help my clients. It's very powerful. It doesn't require words. It doesn't require you to even think of anything. It just requires you to be present, allow. And this is not just about analyzing stories or what stories do. This is about releasing energy that's weighing you down and maybe causing things within your body or stopping you, preventing you from sleeping peacefully. And sometimes people experience a shift in their state without needing to keep retelling everything. So Marilyn Southern, one of my clients, told me after her first Sparkle session that she felt like she was on another planet. And she got to a space that she'd been trying to get to for decades since she was a teenager, and at the time she was over 70, after thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours of therapy, and that she felt enough finally. And that's not a small thing. So tonight, the real question is not, are you charismatic enough? The real question is, what are people feeling from you before they've even made up their mind about you? Are they feeling peace, cohesiveness, alignment with what you're saying and how you're moving, how you're talking? Are they feeling your openness? Are they feeling you could be trusted? Are they feeling your joy? That's important to think about, because if you're feeling heavy, they're probably feeling some of that. If you're feeling stressed, they're probably picking up on that too. If you're feeling fear, they're probably also sensing something there. And if you're in conflict, they could hear it from just a tone, a change in your tone or an edge to your voice, because your state speaks more loudly than your words do. Remember, over 70% of your communication is body language, not the words. So the good news is, this is not about becoming something you aren't. This is about coming back to who you are, to recalibrating so you can come back into your own space where you're being truly authentically you, where you don't have fear and doubts and stress inside of you, because you're able to change your thoughts and capture the state of being where you're calm, collected, with your heart open and open to attracting and magnetizing what it is you desire. And it's about becoming more aligned, more aware, more grounded. Self-aware is what it is. Being so self-aware that when your thoughts start to take you downhill, that you can stop and start moving, whether you use affirmations or you've worked through some things, tools to help you in these times when your thoughts are getting very negative and more negative as you go down this downward spiral I talk about in my book, Sparkle and Shine. The more you can do that quickly as possible to keep your energy up, is the more successful you'll be at getting to that state of being just beautifully, authentically you. And so if this conversation is making sense to you, and you'd like a simple next step, it's this little book, 4 Keys to Be CEO of You, and I've had it out for a while. Simply email or message me or comment, CEO of You, please, in the subject. You can do it in the comments on LinkedIn or on Facebook as well. And I'll be happy to send you that. And so thank you for being here with me. If you stayed this long, I really appreciate that. I hope this serves you well. And if it does, I'd love to hear back and hear how it helped you in your life. And, people do feel you before they decide about you. And, it is your state that speaks before your words do. Just remember that. And again, there's more episodes on the Sparkle Experience show that I have other nuggets of wisdom on there. All right. Good night. It's Michelle signing off. Bye for now.